Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Mary. I'm the community manager at ReadyMag, and today's online meetup is going to be about Unlearned, our latest editorial, which the team has been working on for months. It features 13 short essays from different creatives that share what they had to unlearn after graduation so they can move forward in the design industry. And please, if you have any questions to the speakers, feel free to drop the questions in the chat because we're going to have a short Q&A after each talk. So today we'll be hearing from 4 speakers. Tatiana, our chief editor, and one of the key people behind the editorial. Also, we'll be hearing from Nicole, one of the co-founders of Softer, a Copenhagen-based network and community that empowers women and gender minorities and tries to eliminate the gender gap in the tech industry. Also, we'll be hearing from Zipeng, who, fun fact, by the way, landed his first job first day after graduating. And also, we'll be hearing from Francisco, our designer, and the person behind the editorial's visual identity. So just to make sure, okay, looks good. The chat is active. Can you guys tell us where you're joining from? Just to get the chat going. Okay, Portugal. I am based in Armenia, Yerevan, Paris, Canada, Dublin, Toronto, Colombia. Oh my God, okay, cool. People all around the world. Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks again for joining, and I think we can get started. Tanya, could you try to unmute yourself, share the screen?
Sure. Hi, everyone. You see my screen, yeah? All good?
It's perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. Honestly, that's kind of honor for me to be named one of the key persons behind this editorial. So thanks a million. I hope, hi again, yeah. I hope my speech finds you well, So my name is Tatiana. I'm not quite turned embassy attaché, UNESCO program manager, UN human rights officer. Instead, I'm the chief editor at ReadyMag and a graduate in international relations. Today, I will talk a little bit, of course, about myself working on one of the recent editorials of ReadyMag Unlearned. I hope all of you remember the times when making things was trendy. Actually, I don't quite remember these times because it seems like that I've been studying the theory of the Westphalian system of international relation then, but apparently that moment existed. And back then, ReadyMag started creating its own zines, especially the web editorial projects. At first, they were our way to show what it's possible to do with the tool. Then it was and it is a way to help people discover the tool itself and, of course, what is possible with it. Now it's our way to have a say in the design industry. Now on the screen, you see here a lot of beautiful, interesting eye-catching editorial projects we've been doing so far. Almost all of them. I guess that later, after I stop trembling, I will send the link to this page to our chat, but you definitely can find all these projects on our website. That's the section Web Specials. Yeah, seems like someone helped me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I hope that you will be as much curious as I am. Definitely will peek through these beautiful projects later. What? Yeah, yeah. So, like a very, like I said already, I'm a very curious person, and probably that's the main reason why it appears as a very, I don't know, a very key, a very important, a very big part of my life right now, and probably that's the reason, one of the reasons why I'm really proud of my education. But at the same time, I'm very skeptical of formal education at all in general. And as far as I understand and see, I'm not alone in this. So there are many people with and without design education who share the same tension. And this observation and this paradox became one of the starting point for this project. So we've been what's going on? Someone, yeah. So we've been noticing that early stage designers don't struggle as much with tools as they do with their expectations. What I mean, ideas about what their profession should be, how careers should look, and what success means, or what it means um, for me personally. So, Unlearned is our way to address this gap. And of course, it's also a part of much broader marketing direction to build more trust and connection with all of you folks, of course, and with the design students and educational institutions and cultural ones, of course. At its core, this project is a collection of essays from well known designers from different generations, geographies, and career stages. All of them shared what they had to unlearn to move forward in the industry after graduation. Let's say Stefan Zachmeister argues that running a design studio might be a very simple, low risk and liberating, a bold statement. Yeah, I would love to allow myself this one day. Chantal Martin reflects on trying to step away from art after graduation only to realize that creativity is inseparable from who she is. Like disputes is inseparable from who I am. Cherry Ann Morgan wrote about embracing cultural heritage and challenging Western centered design perspective, a very wise perspective too. As you can probably see and tell right now, people is what make this project very special, especially for me, and also including our team. On the screen right now, you see the names of everyone, almost everyone who was involved on this project. And on this very note, I wanna say a great thank you to all these people for their contribution and also for I don't know, for the fact, for the chance, for the opportunity that our paths after graduation crossed right here at ReadyMag. Seems like that's a very good time to make a pause for a few seconds.
For a few seconds.
So, the second thing which makes this project very special is its form, which I believe, not believe, I know it. It grows directly from the content of this project. Following Susan Zontag, I don't believe in separating form and content. So for me, they are always interconnected. I believe that good form always should continue the content. So this way, style for me always expresses the content. So when there is a gap between the two, it turns always into stylization and something a little or a bit less honest, I would say, probably a little less, I don't know, meaningful, excuse me. So with this project, we tried to make a kind of aesthetic statement. So we wanted to show our style first. We wanted to prove our values. One of them is diversity of perspective, people, attitudes, paths after design school, ways to live your own life, and professional one, of course, second, by giving people whose work we respect the space to speak the way they choose. And I think we managed to do this. A bit later, Francisco, our marketing designer, will tell you more about how we made it possible. And on this very note, I want to say a great thank you for your attention. Best regards, sincerely yours, Tatiana, not quite turned out the She, UNESCO Program Manager, UN Human Rights Officer, and eventually and hopefully Chief Editor at ReadyMag. That's it. Thanks a million again.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Could you please share one of your favorite unlearnings from the editorial?
From this,
yeah, or your personal unlearnings?
It's a hard question, Mary. An unexpected one. I would say that one of the most important and probably memorable unlearning from this project is that probably not the very good, not good, but right decision might lead to the right outcomes. Right? I mean.
I see. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. It was a beautiful presentation. It looks like if anyone has any questions, we still have a couple of minutes to ask Tanya some questions.
Probably something about the Westphalian system of international relations, if you're interested. Who knows?
Now is the time, guys. Okay.
Not this time, yeah. Okay.
We can ask you later if someone decides to ask you something. We'll still have some time in the end.
Deal.
Thank you so much once again. And Nicole, how are you doing?
How are you doing? I was stressed arriving too.
Hello, I am doing great. Let me just see if I can get this to work. Do you see my screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yes, perfect, great. Yeah, okay, thank you so much. First of all, for the invitation. Happy to be here online. So I am Nicole, as you said, Mary, and today I'm gonna talk about Softer, a movement for shaping softer digital futures. And I am the co-founder together with Ida, my platonic wife. We usually do this talk together, so it's also a bit funny to do it alone, but I'll do my best. And when I'm not doing Softer, I live at a farm in the countryside together with my wife and my slightly neurotic hunting dog, Olga. That's also where I am today. But back to Softer. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we started Softer, the journey, my own journey, and why we think it's important. And it's a project that's born because we wanted a space and a direction where we could see ourselves and our values at the front. Because we believe in softer values, in collaboration, in empathy, in slowness, in feelings, in chaos, in redefining the values of care and connection. We say we are on a mission to change the narrative that tech is hard. And we do that by working with various formats of community building and teaching. We do conferences, events, residencies, and we have a software lab in Copenhagen, a satellite in London, and we do events in other cities like Amsterdam and Athens. And we try to create a space that allows people to dream and believe in the possibilities of different futures. We create an alternative to the mainstream narrative that tech needs to be fast, hard, and singular. Because today we are living in a world where we are served an extremely narrow version of the future of technology as one certain direction towards an inevitable destination. Like you can see in this photo is like an obvious example. And this is a one direction that we don't see ourselves in and that we don't want. And to quote a good friend of ours, Maiken Overgaard, if you're not developing your own future, you're unconsciously working on someone else's. And right now, we're at a point where we're working on these guys' future because they want us to believe that technological devices are magic. And they use words like clouds and little sparkly magic dust icons for AI to cut the bonds between the physical matter and the product and the interfaces we use. That makes us feel helpless and lose the sense of agency, making us addicted to convenience and frictionlessness, losing trust in our own abilities. And in that way, we are kept believing that software and hardware is only for geniuses and that we have no control over our digital futures. And we believe that we should not worry because they will deliver the technological innovations that will give us all a better life. Because since the dawn of technological development, we have been promised connection, convenience, optimization, creativity, and intelligence. But what we are really getting is addiction, anxiousness, loneliness, job precarity, the list goes on, and all with a massive climate bill. Which is why we believe that now is the time for new narratives. We need to find spaces to create new ways of learning. We need new ideals. We need new role models. We even need new economic models. We need to break the spell and we need to take back power. And that is a big mission. And how did we even end here? And how did I even end up here? I'm going to rewind a little bit in time and go back to my childhood. Because I'm really not a tech girl. I am what you would call a drawing girl and a sporty girl. I didn't grow up on the internet playing computer games and learning to code. I wasn't even very interested in the internet. But my mom had her own company and my dad worked for her. So I grew up learning about a very different kind of value set. And when I had to decide what I wanted to do in life, I wanted to study at a creative school because I was told that at creative schools you could combine solving problems for the world with creativity. And I decided I want to study at the Danish Design School. So I apply first time, but I get a rejection. But that's okay. Everyone can get a rejection from time to time. Stay strong. It's really hard to get in as well. So I just decided to take a gap year and I try again next year. And I get another rejection. This one hit a little bit harder. And also I felt like I should start studying something at that point. So I start a study called Communication and IT at the Copenhagen University, where I get introduced to basic programming that I realized I'm actually pretty good at. And then we learn about the history of computing and media. And I start to see the connections between how our technologies develop and how we develop as a society. So it's actually really interesting, but I'm not really a big fan of this studying in university. And I was really certain that I wanted to study at a creative school. So I apply again and I get another no. This is how I imagine the lady is sitting. It's like, no, you're not coming in. You're never coming in. But I am, I guess, what you would call a combination of stupid and stubborn. So at this point, I'm like, I need to get in. So I drop out of university and I try again the fourth time. And finally, I get accepted into the Danish School of Design in Copenhagen. And I was like, this is amazing, this is great. And looking back, I actually realized that sometimes you don't have control over your destiny. And I think that all of those years, I was actually just waiting to start the same year as Ida, my co-founder. She comes from a completely different background. This is the part where she usually tell about herself, but her dad is a spider expert. She collected butterflies in her little terrarium, and she coded websites and knew how to use Photoshop from an age of 13. And she's probably one of the most intelligent people I know. And we were lucky enough to go to the same class in the Copenhagen Design School. So we started in school. And as many of you probably know, once you start in school, you don't necessarily learn all the things that you want to learn. And actually, everything went rather slow, I thought. So after trying to get into the school for 4 years, I was really restless and I just wanted to learn everything that design had to offer. But yeah, I didn't. So I dived into the world of YouTube tutorials and self-learning and got really excited about especially learning 3D software and coding websites at that point. And sorry, just a bit of water. And in this journey of trying to learn 3D, I finished the bachelor and want to dive further into learning 3D. And if any of you have tried to do 3D rendering, the obvious step is to build a render computer so you can do better renders. And of course, I want to do that, but it is a little bit harder than I first anticipated. And I spend a lot of time trying to figure out who should help me build this computer. And at some point, someone tells me that Ida, that I went to school with, actually just built her own first render computer. And I was like, wow, that's insane. A girl can build a computer. I actually never thought that was possible because I thought it was such a hard thing to do. So we meet up and we talk about building a computer and we talk about learning on YouTube and why it feels so difficult and why it feels like something that is not for us. And I guess this slide kind of sums up like the whole aesthetic that surrounds gamer computers and render computers. And it's really an aesthetic that didn't speak to us. And it's not just that it's quite hyper masculine, it's also that it's really rather sexist and having brands called like Predator, and it's not really a universe that feels inviting. And it's the same when you learn on YouTube. It's not really it wasn't tutorials that made us want to learn more and that felt like it was a space that we belonged. So we decided that we should create our own space and we get a small studio space where we can sit together and we invite other females 3D artists to come and sit with us. So we basically just find people on Instagram and write them like, hey, we are starting this little collective, please come and sit with us. And this was amazing because now we could really help each other, both learn software, but also build computers. And we also helped each other with help for freelance clients, writing emails before the chat, and started to talk about how it would feel if the world was just a little bit softer. And this was really the beginning of Softer. And we write this manifest of the things we want to put out into the world because we wanted to expand and find a broader network. And this was in 2020, and we posted on Instagram, our favorite social media, and our little account started getting followers, and it seemed like other people shared our vision, and we were really excited and ready to realize our plans in our new space. We wanted to build the community, we wanted to host workshops, meet people, learn together. But again, this was 2020, and everything shut down. So we had to make a new plan. And we started an obvious place where our own learning journey started with tutorials. Ida, she moved to the farm with me, and we bought a big gamer mic, and we started working on 3D cinema tutorials for beginners. And we wanted to make this series where it was not only about learning something and sounding very clever, it's about conversations and showing your flaws and that things could be difficult, and sometimes we would make mistakes but on purpose not edit it out, just so you could see that you could make a mistake and it's okay. And it was actually really nerve-wracking for us to put it online, and we thought, okay, maybe 1,000 people is going to see this, and it turns out that we had really nothing to worry about, because once we published them on YouTube, they kind of went viral, and I think it has like 500,000 views and like hundreds and hundreds of comments of people just writing how much they resonated with this way of learning and talking and the aesthetics, and people started to share the things that they made with us. And it really felt like, okay, we actually have like, there are people out there that share this frustration with us. And we realized that it's also a rather international project. So when the world opened up again, we were like, we are gonna meet these people. We are gonna try to actually build the network that we wanted to build. And we decided we wanted to host the softest tech conference the world has ever seen. And this was the first year. It was very DIY, and people came from all over the world. And we literally just invited our idols to come and speak. And we were like fangirling of every one of the speakers, like, oh my God, they said yes. And in doing this and organizing this, we also realized that all the people that we were looking up to and we thought were amazingly clever and talented and cool, they felt just like us. They also felt insecure, and that they didn't necessarily always belong in a space, and that they also longed for a softer world. So we just start doing a lot of different kind of formats from that point. We just test a lot of different things. We do summer school, we do residencies, online residencies, workshops, we host some talks, create all of these small universes in ReadyMag, actually. We've been using ReadyMag for a long time. And the year after, we host our second conference in this beautiful bunker. And after this event, something happened that we couldn't have prepared for or even planned. We get contacted by Christy and Rachel, two participants for our conferences in Copenhagen. And they asked us how we would feel about if they did a softer conference in London. And we were like, wow, that would be amazing. And they did that. They hosted their first conference, and that was really the beginning of seeing Softer as a project that could expand beyond me and Ida, that could travel and that could grow. And now they have the satellite in London, where they also host events and they do talk and teachings. And so at this point, this is 2023. It's like we feel like we are on a roll. We kind of have built the network we were dreaming of. We have the satellites, and everything is objectively going rather well. But the catch is that this is a passion project. Like, it's something we do next to our full-time job and our freelance job, and we really want to catch the momentum and focus full-time on this. So we take a leap of faith at this point, and we are like, we have to just quit our jobs and see if we can find a way to earn some money with Softer and make it work. And at the same time, I am invited to join a mushroom ceremony in the Danish countryside. And after the most crazy mushroom trip of my life, I draw this tarot card called the Knight of Sword that says, this is a time where your ambitions and goals align. If a miracle doesn't happen, something is wrong. And long story short, a miracle did happen because we meet a lady who recently divorced a Danish tech billionaire. And we pitch her to fund the opening of a software lab in Copenhagen, a space for teaching digital art and design. And miraculously, she says yes. So exactly a year ago, we opened our first lab in Copenhagen, a space for learning together, for exploring tech in a soft and fun, non-intimidating way. And again, after opening the lab, something happens that we couldn't have predicted. We meet a person called Ayo who wants to run a monthly queer coding club in the lab. And we are like, of course, that's amazing. And they also want to host more things in the lab. And they become the starting point for us to understand that we could use the lab as a community place where we could run peer-to-peer learning and volunteer-driven program. And that is what we are doing now. We are almost purely voluntarily driven with the program. So we just did an open call for community-hosted workshops. And we also just received funding to keep it open for another year and a half. So we're at a point right now where what started as a vision and an idea is slowly growing into a movement. We have our new slogan, you could say, that instead of move fast and break things, we move slow and grow things. Because sometimes things take time and they need to grow organically. And our mission is not that everyone should be software engineers, but to give people more confidence and agency to take part in building our digital futures, both in the front end and the back end and the conversations. And we want to create the spaces where we can find the courage to be soft in a hard world, where we can dare to be critical and dare to be messy, to be slow, to fail, and to be open for possibilities and for what the universe provides to us. And we realize that it is truly a collective project. It needs to be moved forward by people who participate and shape what it becomes. And it's about finding your people and organizing collectively. Because at the end of the day, technologies are social things. They don't just appear in the world like gifts from the heavens. They're made by certain people at certain times in certain places. And we believe that now is the time for new certain people and new certain places. So just imagine a world where our tech promises are fulfilled, where connection is togetherness and convenience might be complexity, optimization, meaningful labor, creativity, and intelligence. Maybe the real intelligence is to remember that life is for living and the world is magic and no one knows what happens tomorrow, but we all have the power to change our own worlds. So thank you so much for having me join this call. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to answer any questions or thoughts. If you have reflections, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It was so inspiring, and it's just incredible to see how much software has grown in such a short time. And I hope you'll reach even more cities. And London is just the beginning. London and Copenhagen are just the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, we actually did also in Amsterdam, and we have something coming up in Athens in a few weeks. Yeah. So it is slowly and surely growing.
We have a question. How do the residencies work?
So we've been doing, as I said, like experimenting with a lot of different formats. So the last couple of residencies we have been doing is either like people that's doing something inspiring. So we had a girl called Tabitha in residency, and she has a podcast. So she went to our space and then she did a podcast recording with us and people from our community. It could also be if other people have projects that they are working on and they want to propose to us. Yeah, we are a little bit flexible with that. With that.
We also have a comment from Leo saying that you mentioned that most of what software does now is volunteering based. How do you keep the lights on?
So we are so lucky that I guess the lights on means how do you pay to run things, right?
I think so, Leo.
Just to understand, like I'm, my Danglish.
That's exactly what Leo means. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. We were lucky enough to receive a funding to pay, for the rent, and it also pays for a small team to organize around everything. But this has been a thing for us. Like it's really difficult to find finances to support. Like if you have to pay for a lot of teachers, then you need to make quite expensive spots.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have Danish funding for keeping the lights on for another year and a half, and then we're working towards finding funding after that as well.
Yeah, computers are hungry creatures.
They're so hungry. Yes.
Okay, I think that's it for questions for now. Thank you again so much. It was a wonderful talk, honestly, and extremely inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I will stop share now, and looking forward to Sipeng's talk. And yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for being here. Bye.
Thank you. Oh, and also someone is asking how can